Way, wah, way is all I've heard. You know how adults talk to Charlie Brown in movies. Yes, my hearing went off 5 minutes ago. Now the sounds I heard began to be drowned out by the roar as the blood rushed to my ears in intense anger. I felt my knuckles turn white as I began to clench my fists on the table. Looking at my wife's face, I could see her lips moving as she tried to explain what she had just told me, but I was no longer listening to her. 15 minutes earlier, I just walked in the door after coming home from work on Friday night. I was looking forward to having a beer and calming down to start enjoying the weekend with my wife. Well, you know what they say about best plans. I actually got a beer. My wife put it on the kitchen table when I walked in the door. As for the rest of my plan, not so much. Then there were 5 words. Honey, we need to talk. Well, before getting to the bottom of this story, I should probably tell you a little bit about myself and my wife. My name is Robert Bader. I am 28 years old. I have a good job at an IT consulting firm. I have a master's degree in computer science. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall, weigh about 205 pounds, have brown hair and eyes, and I keep fit with daily visits to the gym and a 5-mile morning jog. I was told that I have a beautiful face. My wife's name is Adela, but her name is usually Ida. She is 2 years younger than me, 5 feet 5 inches tall, curvy but in shape. She goes to the gym about 3 times a week. She has blonde hair just below her shoulders, blue eyes, toned legs, and an ass to die for, a slim waist and breasts. Yes, the face is also very beautiful. We met at a college party. At that time, her name was Idella Masters. She was getting a bachelor's degree in accounting, while I had been studying for a master's degree for a year. We got along from the beginning and dated until the end of college. We got married about a year after graduating from high school. I should mention that sometimes she forgot to fully consider all the consequences of some of her decisions. This was especially true if there was something she really believed in and wanted. Case in point, there was something of a feminist about her, so she didn't want to just blindly take my name when we got married. She insisted that she wanted to hyphenate one of those ridiculous surnames. You know where her maiden name is, and then a hyphen before her husband's last name. Something like Scott Pruitt or Rodham Clinton. You get the idea. Whenever I tried to discuss it with her and tell her what a supremely bad idea it was, she defended herself and accused me of misogyny and trying to take away her identity. She remembered other women who had done it and were very successful. She talked about several of her friends who did it without any problems. She talked endlessly about how the patriarchy forces women to take their husbands' surnames in order to subjugate women. I tried to explain that that's not the point here. I had no intention of trying to subdue her. In the end, I just sat her down, hyphenated her last name, and made her read it 5 times. Then if she still wanted to use that name, I wouldn't mind anymore. Ida Masters Bader. The idea was suddenly dropped, and she changed her maiden name to my last name. I told you she was a natural blonde, didn't I? So, we've been married for almost 5 years. We haven't had children yet, but we started working on it. We talked about getting her pregnant on our 5th anniversary, which was just over 2 months away. She has problems with pills, so we always used protective equipment when we made love. Our plan was that on the night of our 5th anniversary, we would go without protective equipment for the first time. It's going to be a special night for us. So this brings us back to the beginning of this sad story. With a beer in my hand, sitting at the table opposite my wife, I heard 5 terrible words, and my rage grew. I just want to try something a little different for a month or so before we have kids. I need to get rid of all this before I settle down and become a mother. Ida tried to explain. So, let's see if I got it right. Do you want to date other guys while you're married to me? Do you want to have fun and make love with other guys, completely breaking your vows to leave everyone else? And you want me to be okay with that? Are you crazy? I almost shouted out the last sentence. Look, it's only for a month or so. I need to sow the last of the oats, and then we can have our special 5th anniversary party as planned. Once this little outburst is over, I can settle down and be a loving, faithful wife for the rest of my life. Not just no, but damn it, no! Robert, I've already made my decision. That's what I need to do. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm just letting you know in advance so that I don't cheat on you. Really? How can you use other guys without cheating on me? It's not cheating if you know about it, and it's open. It's treason only if I try to hide it and run behind your back. This is not the case here. That's why I'm telling you this in advance before it happens. Besides, it won't be every night. It will probably only be on Friday or Saturday evening, and I will be returning home in the morning. We're still going to make love a few nights a week, and I'm going to make sure I get cleaned up before I come home from dating. You'll never have to worry about sloppy seconds. Oh, I'm sure I'll never have to worry about sloppy seconds because I won't touch you after you go on one of your dates for the first time. Where did all this nonsense you're talking come from? What in the name of all that's holy has planted this idiotic idea in your head? I was pretty sure I knew where it came from, but I thought I'd ask anyway. Well, I talked to Susie about our plan to start a family. Susie? Sure. Do you mean your 4 times divorced colleague Susie? The same Susie who cheated on all 4 of her ex-husbands? Are you seriously taking marriage advice from her? Well, she said that I really need to get everything out of my head before we start a family. That way, I could really relax and be a great mom and a faithful wife without regretting anything that I might have missed. In addition, she suggested that this experience with other guys would help in our own lovemaking, teaching me some new ways to please you. This can open the way for us to have an even better bed life. She was delighted. Well, it was pretty obvious that she was going to go through with it, no matter what I said. I tried a few more arguments, but I was shot down every time. Okay, it's time to pull out the big guns. It's pretty obvious that you're going to go through with this, regardless of my wishes. So, when are you planning your first date? Actually, I don't have a date yet, but Susie and I are planning to go to the club tomorrow night. Okay, but I'm warning you that if you try to bring anyone here, it's going to end very badly. Oh, I would never disrespect you like that. No, we'll either go to his house, to his hotel room, or maybe go back to Susie's. Good. I'm not giving such permission in any way. And I will not agree to any of this, but it is clear that my opinion has nothing to do with your decision. In that case, I won't touch you while this is happening. Also, keep in mind that this could have drastic consequences for our relationship. You may not have a place here when you decide to come back. What do you mean, when I decide to come back? I told you I'm not going anywhere. It's only 1 or 2 nights a week. We'll be together the rest of the time. No, I won't let that happen. If you're adamant about it, you'll leave to do it. I don't care where you go, but you're not going to live here while you're dating and making love to other guys. Don't be silly. This is my house too. You can't just kick me out. I can. Don't you remember that this house actually belongs to my parents? They gave it to me just before we got married. This is my home. Maybe you should move in with Susie. It was cold the rest of the night and the next day. She tried to get me to sleep in the other bedroom, but I insisted that the bed was just as much mine as hers, and I was going to sleep there. If she doesn't want to sleep in the same bed with me, she can sleep somewhere else. We largely avoided each other the next day as well. At about 8 o'clock, Ida came downstairs in her LBD, stockings and garter belt. No, I couldn't see the garter belt or the top of the stockings, but I recognized that look. And 4-inch heels. Her hair was styled. She was wearing makeup and night-on-the-town jewelry. The only thing she had in her hands was a small clutch. Have you forgotten anything? No. I have a phone, a wallet, and an ID card. I think that's all I need. What about suitcases, clothes, cosmetics, toiletries, and so on? I'm only going out for the night. Why do I need all this? I'll be back before morning. Actually, no. As soon as you walk out the door, I'll change the locks. I told you that you won't live here as long as you insist on this nonsense. Don't be silly. I know that you love me enough to let me do this. Well, obviously you don't love me enough not to do that. If you walk out that door, you won't come in anymore. Just as she was about to answer, a car horn sounded from the driveway. This is Susie. I have to go, but we'll talk when I get home. What she didn't know was that I installed several hidden apps on her phone while she was getting ready in the bathroom. Now I could track her location, read her text messages, record her phone conversations. Heck, I could even activate her microphone and camera without her knowledge. In fact, I activated her microphone as soon as she left the house. He recorded her conversation with Susie while they were driving. I'll listen to it later. I had to work right now. The first order is to replace the door locks with new ones that I bought earlier in the day. Then he took her car out of the garage, reprogrammed the garage door opener, and removed the remote control. Thirdly, I packed all her clothes, toiletries, and cosmetics in boxes that I had brought in advance. 2 hours later, I loaded all her things into the car. Now it's time to listen to her talk with Susie. God, he's furious. Well, I warned you about that. He will be angry for a week or so, but it will pass. Just make sure you really use his brains over the next few days. Guys look like dogs. You can get away with anything if you reward them properly. Yeah, I just hope this guy you're setting me up with doesn't leave me too upset to have the strength to use Rob well tomorrow night. Just make sure you get a good soak in the tub tomorrow. This should ease any pain. Now take off your panties and leave them in the car. You won't need them today. To take them off, you had to put them on first. You little slut. They both laughed. I should probably describe Susie. She's a beautiful 5FT4 in Dynamo. She has long, fiery red hair up to her ass, emerald green eyes, an angelic face, a slim waist, and the morality of a street cat stretched to ecstasy. All 4 of her marriages ended in divorce because of her infidelities. It was impressive because she was only 26 years old. Seriously, who gets divorced 4 times before they turn 30? No, I never clicked on it, but it wasn't for lack of opportunity. She made it more than clear that I would be welcome in her bed anytime I wanted. I should also mention that this wasn't the first time she tried to talk Ida into doing something phenomenally stupid. So far, I've managed to avoid it. I listened a little more until they arrived at the club. Trying to listen to anything in the club was a hopeless task. There was just too much noise to hear any conversations. Instead, I started doing online banking by monitoring her GPS location. I withdrew half of the money from the checking account, paid off and canceled our joint credit cards, transferred all our savings to an offshore account that I opened a couple of years ago, and transferred about 70% of our investments to a separate account in my name only. I noticed that the GPS on Ida's phone was moving, so I opened the microphone on it again. Of course, Ida was talking, and I heard an unfamiliar male voice talking to her. "Oh, my phone is ringing." Russell. "Hi, Susie. How are you?" "Hi, girl. Did you leave with that guy you were dancing with?" "Yes. We're going back to your house to be alone for a while. I hope you don't mind if we use the spare bedroom for an hour or so." "No problem, baby. I'll probably be there soon with his friend. Let's have some fun." "I hope so. I'll need to take a shower after we're done so I can go home later." "That's what I thought. I put some shampoo and body wash in the spare bathroom for you." "Thanks. See you later." By this time, I had turned on her camera to see if I could get a look at the guy she was with. I only caught a glimpse of him when she put the phone back in its place. I was not particularly impressed. All I could say was that he looked like he was about 30 years old, black hair that had thinned, and judging by his height when he was sitting, he was a little shorter than me. I turned everything off as they were still driving. When I saw that they had arrived at Susie's house, I turned on the microphone and camera again. I kept listening until I heard them start to move away from the phone. It just won't do. I needed her phone to be in the same room so I could get audio evidence of her deception. The video is unlikely to work. Damn it! What happened? This is my husband's call. So what? Don't pay any attention to it. I can't. I'll have a short talk and get rid of him. Hi, honey. How are you? Where are you, Ida? I'm at Susie's. We'll just relax a little bit and then she'll take me home. I'll be back in a couple of hours. We just put on a movie. Good. I just wanted to make sure you didn't get into a bad situation. I'm fine. Stop worrying. I'll see you in a couple of hours. Good. Goodbye. She must have drunk too much because she didn't even notice that I didn't use any endearments or tell her that I loved her when I hung up. She also didn't understand that I said goodbye at the end. By some miracle, she took the phone with her to the bedroom. I think it was because she was walking there when she was talking to me. Even better, she put it on the bedside table, leaning against the lamp. The camera had a pretty good view of most of the bed. I'm pretty sure I'll never be able to use it in court, but I didn't really care about it at the time. I watched enough of the video to make sure they were really making love, then rolled down the window and continued recording. Well, if she decided to go and make love to other guys, I saw no reason to just sit at home and get blue balls waiting for her to come back. You know the old saying, goose, goose, and all that shit? Fuck her shit. I'm going to go and make love too. Moreover, I'm going to rub it in her face. She didn't come home, of course. She had to stay at Susie's. I spent the rest of the weekend doing projects around the house and working on an old truck. I have a 1972 GMC pickup truck that I bought on the cheap a few years ago. I've been working on this for a while now. I put in the built-in 350 engine, replaced the old 3-speed manual transmission with a 4-speed Borg-Warner Super T10 manual transmission, a 12-bolt rear differential, leather bucket seats, and matte black paint. All that remained was to finish installing steel braided lines to connect the engine to the fuel, radiator, and vacuum fittings. Work distracted me throughout the week. Also, since I stopped communicating with Ida, I was able to finish the truck and get it ready for the road. I also visited a lawyer and started preparing divorce papers. There was really no way not to give her half of everything. The divorce laws in this state must have been written by hardcore feminists. Women cheat. The poor innocent husband, who was faithful and did nothing wrong, ends up paying the fool to keep making love. There's not much a guy can do to protect himself. So it was Friday night. My truck was cleaned and ready for the evening out. After taking a shower, shaving, lightly perfumed with cologne, I got dressed. I put on beautiful new Levi's jeans, a black button-down shirt, and rattlesnake leather cowboy boots. It was time to treat myself, so I went to a nice steakhouse for dinner to start my evening. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the T-bone, baked potatoes, and vegetables were excellent, as was the salad to begin with. Now let's move on to the main event. After leaving the restaurant, I checked where Ida was, and indeed it looks like he and Susie got to the club about half an hour ago. It's time to put my plan into action. I had every reason to expect that this would completely piss Ida off. I couldn't help but smile as I parked a couple of spaces away from Ida's car. It looks like she was the designated driver today. This made my plan a little easier as I wouldn't have to worry about Susie leaving her in a predicament. Not that I was worried about anything myself. I was mostly concerned that it would be a little harder to get Susie to drive away with me if she was driving. Having made a plan, as well as a plan B in case Susie somehow developed moral issues, I entered the club. They weren't hard to spot. "Susie, I didn't know you'd be here," I said, approaching their table with a glass in my hand. I purposely waited until Ida got up to dance with some guy. "Rob, what are you doing here?" "What is it?" she asked nervously. "Probably the same as you," I replied. "Since Ida moved in, I thought I'd try this club and have some fun tonight. Speaking of which, would you like to dance?" I should probably let you know that Ida is here with me." "And how does that stop you from dancing with me? Besides, since she's not here, I can only assume she's either in the bathroom or on the dance floor herself." "Come on, you've never shied away from dancing with me before?" Her worried look turned into a grin. "Of course, I'd love to dance with you. We were there for 3 fast songs before a slow number appeared. I didn't give her a chance to leave. As soon as the music started playing, I pulled her in and hugged her to me. It took about a song and a half before Ida noticed me. I almost fell to the floor laughing when the surprise on her face turned to fear that I had caught her. She left the dance floor right after the song ended and returned to their table. Now I could see her looking at me with barely concealed anger. "Oh, you poor fool. I haven't even started to piss you off yet," I thought to myself. Susie clung to me tightly as we slowly danced together. As I said earlier, Susie is a real bomb, so it didn't take me long to stand at attention and salute, if you know what I mean. It also didn't take her long to figure it out. She looked at me with a big smile and started rubbing against me a little more. I have already found out and made sure that she left her bra at home. When I turned to face Ida, I slowly lowered my hand down and began caressing Susie's ass. No, there are no panties either. It looks like my plan was on the right track. When the song ended, I escorted Susie back to their table. She invited me to join them, and of course I agreed. On the way back, we stopped and asked the waitress to refresh our drinks. Being the gentleman that I am, I asked her to put all 3 drinks on my bill. "Robert, what the hell are you doing here?" Ida hissed angrily. "What do you mean? I'm doing the same thing as you. I drink, dance, and have fun. Is it forbidden? Don't try to look innocent. You're here to ruin my evening." She spat. "Quite the opposite, Ida. I had no idea you'd be here. Remember? We haven't spoken since you moved in. How do I know where you're going to be? I heard about this club from friends at work, and since you weren't around, I decided to check out this place and have a fun evening with drinking and dancing. Are you saying that it's okay for you, but not for me? Because I have to say, that's pretty hypocritical of you." With that, I turned to Susie and started chatting with her. Ida sat there fuming while I tried my best to ignore her. She probably decided to make me jealous because she was trying her best to dance with as many guys as possible. She also began to polish them and dance as coquettishly as possible. I laughed to myself when I monopolized my time with Susie. Every time I saw another guy make a move to come over and ask her to dance, I'd drag her onto the dance floor before they even got to the table. Pretty soon, no one else was trying, because it was obvious that we were together. After a couple of hours, I decided it was time. Ida was on the dance floor, and Susie was well prepared and gracious. She smiled and spread her legs as my hand crept up her thigh under the table. "At your place with me," I whispered, breathing into her ear. "Ida will be there soon." "Does it really matter? I assume she has her own room." I kissed the place where her neck meets her shoulder. "To hell with everything," she replied. "She's driving. She'll get home on her own. Let's go." I kept her in suspense as I drove her to her, caressing her thigh. Her dress was pulled over her head and fell to the floor as soon as the door closed. Grabbing my hand, she practically dragged me into her bedroom. Breakfast was awkward, to say the least. Obviously, we woke Ida up with our morning fuss. When we came out, she was already in the kitchen. "Coffee?" Ida asked when I entered the kitchen. "It's all right, I'll do it myself." I noticed a slight smirk on her face when she asked. I took a clean cup out of the cupboard and stood next to Keurig while he filled the cup. I don't know what would have been in the coffee she made for me. After that, there was almost no conversation between us. He and Susie talked for a while, and I talked to Susie. Apparently at the club, Ida eventually noticed that the 2 of us were missing and put 2 and 2 together. I think she expected me to take Susie to my house, and she was furious when she saw my truck in the parking lot at home. She ranted so much that the guy she brought home for the night jumped back into his car and drove away. Ida looked at me like a wolf during breakfast. I left shortly after that. I can be a real asshole when I'm motivated. I was really motivated. Ida has worked with several very attractive single women. I met them several times at her company's events and the parties we hosted. Of course, I had their contact information. I started contacting them. Over the next few weeks, I convinced most of them to go on a date with me. Some of them were a little worried because Ida and I were still married. But since Ida was talking about her adventures at work and I assured them that we had broken up, they relented. I started to hear that there was tension between Ida and Susie because of my little escapade. Soon tensions also arose between Ida and most of the other single women in the office, so yes. I started dating Ida's friends and colleagues. I drank and had dinner with them. I invited them to the dance. I took them to the show. At every opportunity, I made sure to show up where Ida was. This GPS tracking app, as well as the voice and video app on her phone, have become a goldmine. I also heard that most of her colleagues I met admired their dates with me. She still went out and brought guys with her. He and Susie began to clash more. I was having a great time. I went out, dined, danced. I also had fun listening to Ida's rant. This is not how it was supposed to work. What do you mean? Susie was saying. He was supposed to wait for me when I would sow my last wild oats, and then welcome me so that we could start our family. He shouldn't have been dating and making love to other women. Susie was also puzzled. Yes, I didn't expect that either. So what are you going to do? Well, now I've had some fun and none of the other guys have been able to rock me like Rob has. In addition, our anniversary is approaching, and we have a plan to start working on the birth of a child on the night of our anniversary. Yes, he knows exactly how to send a girl into orbit. Susie knew what she was talking about. And why the fuck did you bring him here and use my husband all night and the next morning? Hey, chill out. Heck, you know I've been lusting after him for years. What the hell was I supposed to do when he attacked me like that? He turned on full speed and pressed all my buttons. I couldn't help myself. But he's my husband. You could show some respect to your best friend. Good. I'm sorry. Look, he didn't even call me anymore. I doubt we'll ever meet again. Besides, you don't have to be mad at me. He checked out all our single colleagues. Oh my god, I can't believe these fucking fools are setting me up like this. It's time to take back what belongs to me. So you're going back to him now? Yes. I'll call him later and tell him I'm ready to come back and start our family. I smiled while listening to this conversation. She had no idea what was going to happen next. It's time to start the final part of the plan. I called my lawyer and gave her the latest instructions. Our anniversary was just over a week away and I needed to prepare for an unforgettable holiday. Ida called later that day. She wanted to come home right away, but I refused. I told her that I had other plans that I had made because I didn't know what her plans were. I also told her that I had some housework to do and I wanted to surprise her when she got home. I didn't want her to see it until it was done. It will be part of her wedding anniversary gift. I may have given a couple of hints, which she may have mistaken for the fact that one of the bedrooms was turned into a nursery for a newborn. I've never actually said that. In the end, I convinced her that she could come on our anniversary to get her surprise. God, would she be surprised? All the preparations were made and everything was completed. It was Saturday night, and the anniversary party I had planned was in full swing. I had a barbecue and a pool party to celebrate. Ida didn't know that I had installed the pool in the last 2 months. This was just the beginning of the surprise. All our friends and family were there, as well as a couple of other guests. It was about 6 p.m. when the doorbell rang, just in time. It was at this time that I told Ida to come. Obviously, she saw a lot of cars in front of the house, so she already realized that we were having a party. She was surprised when she carried her suitcases into the house. It's all right. The guest of honor has arrived, I announced. Rob, what's going on? I kind of thought we'd go out and have a quiet, romantic dinner tonight. She said, Oh no. Today is a big holiday and I want all our families and friends to be here to celebrate with us. Oh, all right, dear. It just surprises me a little bit. I didn't expect anything like this. Well, just put your suitcases here. We'll take care of them later. You'll be just in time for dinner. As the guest of honor, you and I will be the first in line. Ida quickly got up to speed and started having fun. There has been no talk of activity in the last 2 months. We ate, drank, and laughed. Dinner was finished and put away. There was a light on in the backyard. Ida was very surprised by the pool and several other changes in the house. I haven't shown her the top floor yet. She hinted that she wanted to see what I had done because she still thought I had turned one of the bedrooms into a nursery. It's finally time to reveal the rest of the surprises. That's it. May I have your attention, please? I have some announcements for this special day. I shouted for everyone to calm down and listen. The stereo was turned off and everyone fell silent and moved closer to hear. Good. Thank you all for coming today. And now I need to make a couple of announcements. Ida, could you come here with me, please? After she stood next to me, I continued. First of all, I want everyone to know that yesterday was my last day at work. The only person who knows about this is my former boss. He was very friendly about it, as I had given him a month's notice and explained what my plans were. I am now announcing that I will open my own consulting company. This will allow me more freedom to spend time with my family. Ida practically beamed when I underlined the last word. As you all know, today is Ida and I's 5th anniversary. What most of you don't know is that we plan to start a family on this day. Having said that, I want to give Ida a special anniversary gift to mark our relationship. With these words, I quietly took a couple of steps to the side and nodded to the red-haired woman at the end of the group. She nodded back and moved forward. Idella Bader, you have been served, said the woman. Something most of you don't know, I continued. 2 months ago, Ida told me that she was going to date and sleep with other men. She didn't ask if I agreed with that. She left me no choice. She just told me that she was going to do it and that there was nothing I could do about it. For the past 2 months, she has been living with her friend and taking various men to her house to make love to them. It's something I just won't put up with. Frankly, I've also dated other women, but I started this after Ida had already ruined her wedding vows. No! Cried Ida. For your actions, I'm giving you a divorce so you can go and make love to whoever you want. Be sure it won't be me. So I told Ida that I was doing some renovation of the house. That's what I did. You've all seen the pool that I've added, and a few other things downstairs. I also repainted the master bedroom and installed a new, more spacious shower, as well as a jacuzzi in the main bathroom. I also tore out the wall between the 2 smaller spare bedrooms to expand them into one large bedroom with its own bathroom. I did it for a very specific reason. While I was saying this, the same red-haired woman and a 10-year-old red-haired girl were heading towards me. I want you all to meet my lawyer, Tara O'Reilly, and her daughter Simone. Tara is also a single mother. I met Tara 2 months ago on the Monday after Ida went to the club and brought her first boyfriend. We have become very close since then. Although we haven't officially started dating yet, we both feel that there is something between us. Simone and I get along very well too. As soon as the divorce is final and she no longer works as my lawyer, we plan to be together. Her rent will be up soon and Tara and Simone will move in with me. I turned back to Ida. So, Ida, as for what to do with your suitcases, you can take them back to your car. You're not coming back here. I told you I wouldn't stand for it, but you just rushed forward and ruined our marriage. Bedlam! Ida was sobbing uncontrollably. Her family screamed and screamed. Most of the friends quickly left. My family sat stunned. Tara and Simone quietly went upstairs and disappeared from sight. They were prepared for such a reaction, and agreed when I asked them if they would be okay with it. Frankly, Tara and I didn't even kiss. True, we went to dinner and I spent a few evenings with her and Simone at their apartment, but we agreed to postpone everything else until my divorce was final. She divorced her husband 5 years ago because she caught him cheating. After that, she left the house several times but never felt a spark. In the end, everyone finally left. I do not know where Ida has gone. On the same day, I deleted all the spyware apps that I had on her. I was no longer interested in what she was doing. Would it be better to handle it in a different way? Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't have dragged Tara and especially Simone into all this. Again, probably. Why did I do that? The simple answer is anger. I was angry at what Ida had done. I also wanted to make sure everyone knows that Ida ruined our marriage with her selfishness. I wanted to publicly make Ida feel the pain she caused me. She killed my love for her and made me hate her. I wanted her to feel the loss of love and the hatred she caused. Yes, I could just serve her at work while she was living with Susie. I could just send everyone a package with my evidence. I could do a lot of things that would be much more mature and much less painful for everyone. In the end, I did what I did. The epilogue. Ida went back to Susie. It lasted about 2 weeks before they were at each other's throats. In the end, she got her own small apartment. I often see her in the city. The expression on her face when she sees me alternates between sadness and anger. I think it depends on her mood. We don't exchange pleasantries. I actually heard from one of her colleagues that she left the company and found a new job. The stress of dating so many other women she had to work with became too much for her. I also see her family sometimes when Tara, Simone, and I are having dinner. Again, we don't talk, but they frown at us. We just ignore it. Speaking of Tara and Simon, Ida tried to fight the divorce, but soon realized that it was a hopeless case. Wanting everything to be over as soon as possible, Tara allowed me to increase the pressure on Ida by continuing to meet Ida's colleagues. Ida signed the papers after she heard a brilliant account of our night together with her colleague at work the morning after my 4th date. The day the documents officially ending my marriage arrived, Tara and Simone moved in with me. A year later, Tara and I got married. She let me open her back door on our wedding night. After that, she informed me that I would have the key all the time, and I could open it any time I wanted. A year later, we met Ida when Tara, Simone, and I were wandering around the street fair. Ida turned and ran away, sobbing when she saw Tara's stomach in the 6th month of pregnancy.